Hey, what's up guys? Michael here. Woo! It is August 5th, 2023, and it's hot as a mother out. It's been brutally hot the last couple weeks, and it's been hard to work on different projects, but we've been doing a lot of preparations for the upcoming archery season here in Ohio. But I got a couple ladder stands, and I'm not a huge fan of ladder stands, but I do got a couple up, and I need to brush them in more. I need to screen them just even a little bit more. Access to, as well as climbing up and just being able to sit there in a stand that's completely hidden right from view. So that's one of the things we're going to work on today. But first, we need to get our screening material, and it just so happens I got to take down this big old pine. So we got this big old white pine here. It's right next to the driveway, and it just gets sap all over our vehicles. The dog's always out here, and he just happens to get sap on him all the time. So I tried trimming it up at one point. It just kind of looks ugly, and it's dropping a lot of sap still. And even if I were to just trim the one side, it would just look awkward. So I think the best thing to do is just take it down. We'll have some good firewood. But do you see all these evergreen branches? There's tons of branches there. That's going to be our screening, and I'm going to use them in a couple different ways. I will use a post hole digger and drop some of them right in front of the stand, right? You got that natural screening, and then other ones we'll be able to just brush the stands in. So there's two projects here today: dropping this tree, cutting it up for firewood, and then using these branches for brushing in stands, right? So nothing's going to go to waste. So Big T's on his way up, and he's going to be cooking his famous carnivore, keto style chicken tenders, which I'm excited about. I haven't had them yet, but when he sends pictures, they look good. And we'll be getting to it here soon. So we'll start by cutting just some of these lower branches off, and then we'll drop this tree, chop it up, get a couple piles of these branches for the two different stands, and we should be good to go. So hope you like the video. See you later. That was easy. All right, we got one branch down. Here's the tree here. Next one. There it is. Wow.
Wow. You dropped it right in between. I was worried about that little house.
Yeah. Just made it.
Yep.
All right. Successful tree felling. Pine smells good.
Well, that'll be good firewood.
Yeah. Got plenty of firewood. And then I'm going to use these branches to brush in some tree stands. So nothing goes to waste here. All right. I got all of these white pine branches dragged back here by one of my stands. You can see I got quite a bit, especially the big branches is what I wanted. And then I got one of my ladder stands right here. Got our food plot out here. Now, my Egyptian wheatgrass screening, it actually did extremely well down along this straightaway here. There's a little trail on the backside. And you could see across that side, there's a trail over there. It actually did quite good. Some of it's 10 foot tall, Most of it's 7 to 8 feet tall. And if you remember, I planted this late, much later than I should have, and it still grew really well. I also ran out of seed, so it's not quite as wide as I wanted it to be. It's only 5, 6 feet wide. I really was looking more 10, 15 feet wide. And that's okay, because both of these entrance points where the trails are, I'm actually not going to be walking along this trail. I'll be on the other side of this tree line. The same with the trail that goes down to another stand in the woods. I'll be actually on the other side of a brush line, right where that tree line is. We got some nice tall Egyptian wheatgrass. It's going to help break up the view if you're on either side of these tree lines going to stand. So that's perfect. Now, because I ran out of seed, this corner did not do well at all. And you could even see that it didn't even grow as tall as some of that stuff did down there. I think a lot of it has to do with it just not getting as much sunlight being in the corner here. And ideally I would have had a good 20-foot swath going in to this corner, but just didn't work out. And the whole point of that was so you could come across this tree line here, walk past the food plot here, be completely screened, and get up into that tree stand. So the goal is you got to adapt, right? You got to improvise. You got to overcome, right, baby? So I'm going to use these giant white pine branches from that pine tree me and Big T took down. And we are going to stand them straight up and down in here, brushing this stand really nice. And we want to get a good 180 coverage around here, and then have some of these also kind of coming in this way. That way, when I access this stand, I'll be coming along this tree line. Now you can see this tree line opens up a bit here. So what I'll do is, when I'm coming down this tree line, I'll actually angle out. There's a little bit of a dip there in the field. It just kind of goes down just a little bit. I will follow that into the trees over there, circle around in the woods, and then sneak right up in from behind the stand this way. And then I should have complete screening. So if the plan works well, I should be able to quietly get into this stand without being seen or heard if there are deer in this food plot. Now, this food plot isn't huge. It's a little over a 1/4 acre. So if there's a deer right here at this corner, it may sense something, right? But a lot of times the deer actually enter. There's a little bit of a dip in the food plot. And a lot of times those deer enter, 60, 70 yards across there and come up that way. So this will be ideal to be able to get in the stand, even if they're out that way, without being seen or heard. So that's what we're looking for. You got to get creative, right? Hunting is one of my passions in life. I know a lot of you love it, the outdoors. Don't get too stuck on dogmatic ways of doing things, right? Especially if something didn't work out for you, whether it's a food plot, you're screening, stand location, whatever it might be. Get creative. Get creative. Follow your gut instincts too. Use the knowledge, the wisdom, the strategies, techniques that you know, but don't be afraid to follow your gut, your instincts, and try some different things. That's what's fun about it. So I've never stood up big giant white branches. I've done a lot of brushing in of stands, but I've never stood up branches like I'm going to today. I got a post hole digger and a shovel, and we're going to be putting these suckers into the ground, and these are huge. Some of these branches are just as tall as this stand, and I'm excited about that because we'll be able to get full coverage up along that stand, brush it in, sneak in here, and get some good hunting. Plus that stand's going to be brushed in. These ladder stands really stick out like a sore thumb, and a big mature buck will notice stuff like that. So the more brushed in you can get on a ladder stand, the better. It'll look a little more natural, and hopefully a big boy will not think twice about it. So, all right, let's get to it. So there is some nice cover right here. There's couple hickory trees right here. There's a little oak. So the nice thing is some of these hardwoods hold their leaves, especially oaks. So this little oak will still hold its leaves even into the fall, so that'll be good. So we're gonna start with our first big white pine right here, and what I'm gonna do, just use a post hole digger, just like I'm digging for a post. We're gonna stick that sucker straight in there. I was only able to get down about a foot. I was hitting some rock, but that's all we really needed, because this big old branch it's like a big old Christmas tree. And so it's in the hole and it's leaning this way a bit right into this hickory tree, so that's fine. I'm just gonna kind of pack some of the dirt around it. I stuck some logs down in the hole just to kind of brace it a bit so you could see. So now when you look through there, it's really starting to break it up, right? Can't see right through there anymore. It's screening it pretty good. So this is just one branch. We're gonna start to layer in additional branches through here. I could use some of these logs, you know, right down in here to help brace them. If I need to dig some holes, I'll do that. And so I'm gonna create a little bit of a wall here, and then we're just gonna circle around right through here and just get those big old branches right in the ground right there. So hopefully I don't run into too much more rock. If I do, then we'll just keep improvising from there. But it's going to work good. It's going to give us the cover that we need to get up in that stand and to get us a big old booner. All right, let's keep going. All right, guys, I'll just give you a little peek here. I mean, I've only been at this for 10 minutes or so, and it's looking really good, look. So you can't see through that at all. There's even this old oak tree branch that was back here behind the stand that I grabbed. So I'm going to continue to pile this up. I might use some twine just to kind of secure it. But I got the post hole digger. It's only going about a foot deep, and then I'm hitting rock, which is fine. At least it'll hold these in place at the base. So if we get storms and stuff, that won't kick them out. But I'm just going to keep walling this up on this side, and then we'll see about kind of working our way around here. We're going to be accessing from back there, so we don't got to get too crazy. And get a couple of these big ones. Get a couple of these big ones that'll get it up towards the top there. And maybe secure them near this hickory here, and we should be good. So let's see how it goes. You hit a root down there, but we're good. About 16 inches down. That's a lot better than what I was getting over here. So let's see if we can get that big old boy. All right, we got her in. Whew! Yeah, it's way taller than the stand. That's good. So now, I just got to secure it to the stand. It's just standing there now. That top actually bent down a little bit. Whew! That's a big, heavy branch, so check this out. Look at that. That's going to camo that stand in nice, so we just got to get some twine. Zip ties work really good. I don't have any with me, but I do have a bunch of twine, so I'm just going to twine it up. We'll just work our way up. It definitely is taller than the stand, which is perfect because it'll be able to blend that in as well. All right, I'm going to take a drink of sparkling water. Maybe do a quick meditation, and then we're going to get back to it, baby. So We're making really good progress. We're almost done. I just want you to check this out. So the plot's out here. I mean, look at this. You cannot even see that stand. Now granted, some of these leaves are going to come down. There's an oak here. Those leaves will hold on. But then we have that wall of pine. The seat of the stand's right there. You might be able to see it a little bit. And the lifeline's right above it. But let me walk out here. Okay, so if you watched the last video, I broadcasted my fall food plot seed in here, and then I crimped this down. I also did a light spraying, and you could just see the buckwheat's all dead. It's breaking down, and you could actually see some of the fall seed growing up already here. So it's looking good. But anyway, look at that. You cannot see that stand. I mean, you can make out the seed up there a little bit, but you can't see that ladder. I'll be able to climb up into that with really great coverage. You walk over here, you can't see it. So I'm feeling really good about it. Let's take a little walk over here. I'll show you kind of what else I did to get this all situated. So I'm using these logs. I kind of did some very shallow post hole digging in there and stuck some of these branches in. Then I used both of these logs to brace those branches, because I won't be accessing the stand from the front. I'll actually be coming in from behind it. So I'll come in behind, come up the ladder. But look at how much screening I got up there. It really brushes it in. And I'm not too worried about this side, and I'll show you why. You might be able to hear the road out there. A motorcycle just went by, but this is my neighbor's property over here. His farm's right out in there. You might be able to see it. And there is a road there. It's not too busy. It's just a country road. But my neighbor's on his tractor almost every single day. So the chances of us having deer coming from his location are very slim. The deer come from the woods down here, from my property. And I've designed it that way with, you know, as far as how the deer use the terrain and the habitat improvements I've done, the bedding. There's great bedding. There's great travel routes and funnels and pinch points. So a majority of the deer are going to come from that direction. So that's why this stand has so much screening on that side of it. Now, there is a possibility that deer can come up out of this corner. And they do it. They do it sometimes. So it is a very real possibility. But even if you come down here and you look, the stand's still very well screened. I did put some pine branches on this side. Again, a lot of these leaves are going to come down, but there are some oaks in there that'll help hold their leaves. But the chances of a deer coming from this corner, a lot less than coming from the other direction. These are really big open woods. My neighbor's property, he's never really logged it out or anything. And so when the leaves come down, you could see, you know, 100 yards. But if you come on my property, which is over here, this is just thick. This is incredibly thick. Even when all the leaves come down, it's still real nice and thick. So the deer are typically going to be in there coming up that way. But there's a possibility they could always come up this way. Now, I could try to prevent that by dropping some of these trees and just kind of closing this off. I thought about doing that, but I'm not going to do it, at least not this year. And the reason being is because I don't want to completely block this entry point off right here, because even if a deer comes up this hill, up this trail, and wants to circle in this corner here, we still got good shots from that stand there. And the chances of him spotting me right there are pretty slim, unless he gets out here and he just turns around and looks up. But by the time he'd get right here, I'd already be at full draw. So one of the other things I'm probably going to do is put a mock scrape out here. And I might put it somewhere right over in here. I'm not quite sure yet. And the reason for that is, well, first of all, if you got your deer coming up this way, I want to try to draw them over here to check the scrape, presenting a perfect broadside shot. If they come up this way, if we have a scrape here, I want them to be honed in on that scrape over here and not turning and looking towards my direction. because they could very well look right up at me. If there's a scrape here, and this might even be a great spot right here. There's an oak here. These branches are kind of high, so I can get a little licking branch right here. It's about a 15-yard shot, but if you have a deer coming up from that trail, he might hone in right for that scrape, and check that before he really meanders off into the food plot. So we're probably going to do that. I'm just not 100% sure if I want to do it right here or a little further down. Okay, so we are now sitting up in the stand. So we got this cover here. We got good cover over here. And that's our shooting window in here. But we also have that shot right down in here. Right, if a deer comes up from out of there, if we got a mock scrape there, we might not get busted, but there's a good possibility if a deer is coming up, especially a big mature deer is coming up here, it's going to look right up at us. So we're just we're basing this, and so our goal is to have the deer come up this way. They come up out of that corner a lot, and you could see that's a low area. It's kind of a perfect little funnel low area for them to approach the field and not be skylined, right? They do occasionally come up at an angle through the tree line here, and then they'll pop out here, which is great. Again, that gives us perfect broadside shots right there. So yeah, we'll be bringing you some hunts live from this stand. I'm looking forward to seeing how this stand pans out, and we'll go from there. Actually, last year, one of the only daylight pictures we had of the big 11 point 150 plus was from this field. I had a mock scrape over on this field. This stand was actually over there a little ways. There was nothing planted in this field. It wasn't a food plot or anything. And I had one of the early daylight photos of that big boy was right on the edge of this field during legal shooting time. I wasn't there. Nobody was. We got some other daylight photos of them, but that was one of the first ones. So, all right, guys. So we are finished here. I was just going to show you the finished product. So I don't know if you could see that up there. It's brushed in really well. So from the food plot perspective over here, I mean, you can't see anything. So we got it brushed in real well. So let's take a look at it. I had some other trees that I took down. I cut a couple of these down like a month ago. They're holding their leaves really well, so I went ahead and used them as well. Again, just a little bit down, post hole. Just dug down a little bit with the post hole digger. Put them in there, just kind of leaned them against my wall of pines. And so you could obviously see the stand from this side, but it's still brushed in pretty well. And then I came in with the DR brush hog. And so again, we'll be coming from this corner. And now I got this nice clean trail straight to the stand. And we got our hoist rope here. And you can see, I mean, look at this. You can't see nothing. This is just a wall of brush. And so there's the stand. And you can see I use that camo tape just to help keep it nice and quiet. Even when I shake it, nothing's jiggling. That's important too. You just want to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's, right? If you're after a big mature buck, try not to overlook little things. Like a little bit of jingling in a tree stand can screw you. Not having your stands brushed in, not having sufficient cover, not having screened access, as well as exit points. All that stuff, it could be the difference between having a big old boon comfortably come in and getting a shot at him, or not even seeing that big boy come in. I'm going to keep it as quiet as possible. I'm going to move like a ninja. I'm going to stay out of sight as much as possible. And I'm only going to go to my stands and come back. I'm not going to be screwing around in there. All right, guys. Well, we do have another stand that I got to do this same process with. It's already brushed in quite a bit, so I'm not going to have to spend as much time on that one as I did with this one. This was kind of the big one I really wanted to work on. So I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe got some ideas on how to brush your stands in. Maybe got the juices flowing. If you got ladder stands just sticking out like a sore thumb, spend some time brushing them in. You got all spring and summer to get them things brushed in, whether you're using existing vegetation. There's people who use fake Christmas trees. There's people who buy stuff you can, like at a craft store like Michael's, and there's even stuff that you could buy online that tends to be a little pricey, but maybe, you know, maybe that would help too. But get creative with your screening, with your brush work. If you got land, you got your own land, or you're on land where you're allowed to cut down trees or limbs or whatever, evergreens are phenomenal. It could be white pine, red cedar, Norway spruce, whatever. Any sort of evergreen is great. Oaks are great because they hold their leaves, so some of those hardwoods hold their leaves. So yeah, just keep an open mind, get creative, and have fun. Be safe. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
It's just alright, just alright, just alright.